The player needs that extra 50% on blackjacks to even have a fighting chance against the casino. So let's talk about playing decisions. There are 4 main playing decisions that you as a player can make at the blackjack table. There's hitting, standing, splitting, and doubling down. And we're gonna break down each one of those for you. But just so you know, there's actually a chart, and we'll put a link to it in the description below, that will tell you the proper playing decision for every hand of blackjack. It's called Basic Strategy, and it was created by mathematicians, and it is the best way to play every possible hand in the game. David, how long would you say it takes to memorize Basic Strategy?
A couple hours a day for a couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple hours a day for a couple weeks to know how to play perfect blackjack. That's not going to give you the advantage over the casino. You need card counting for that. But with proper Basic Strategy, you're playing every hand properly, and it's going to cut the casino's edge to a very small margin, roughly half of 1%. First, let's talk about hitting. Why would a player hit?
To get a better hand.
Yeah, to take another card. So let's show you what that looks like. So in this situation, we have an 8 against a 7, so the player is going to want to hit. And you're going to do that by tapping or scraping or some form of tapping the table, and then the dealer will give you another card. So then your next option would be standing, and that's if you don't want another card. So now you have an 18 against the dealer's 7, you're going to want to stand, and so you're going to just wave that hand off, and then your hand is over. Our next playing decision would be to stand. When would you stand?
When you have a good hand or you don't want to bust.
So the third option would be doubling down, and that's only available on your first 2 cards or sometimes after you split your hand. We'll show you that in a minute. And when you double down, you're going to place an equal bet to your original bet. You can bet up to your original bet. A little pro tip, you would never double down for anything less than the full amount, and you would always double down when Basic Strategy says to double down. So let me show you what that looks like. So with doubling down, each of these hands are actually technically a hand you should double down. So this first one's a 9. What you're going to do is put an equal bet next to it and place 1 finger out. And the dealer's going to give you 1 card sideways to signify that you can't hit that hand. That hand is over. Here's an 11. An 11 is always going to double down against a 6. And then again, on this last hand, it's a soft 18. So this is an 8 or 18, and the correct decision would be to double down. And at that point, all 3 of these hands are done, and you have to just hope that the dealer's going to bust. Boom! And then you get paid out on all those bets. Another thing to be aware of, as far as proper Basic Strategy at blackjack, doubling down situations are all situations where you have an advantageous hand. So while you might feel scared to put another bet out there to match your original bet, it is the proper way to play it. And if you don't double down when you're supposed to, you're really just costing yourself money over the long run. Splitting is an option when you have 2 cards that are of equal value to each other. So if you have a pair of 2s or a pair of 7s or even a pair of 10s, you have the option to split those cards. So here we have a pair of 8s, and to split those, you're going to put a second equal bet out and split your fingers like saying 2 hands, and then you're going to get dealt. And here you got another 8, so you can actually split that again. So you're going to do the exact same thing. And then you're going to get dealt into 3 separate hands. And here you're going to stand on each of these. And then over here we have a pair of aces, which is always going to split. So again, you put 2 fingers out to say 2 hands. And with a pair of aces, you only get dealt 1 card to those. And so the dealer's going to put them sideways to signify that you can't hit. And those hands are over. And then the dealer's going to play out their hand. So again, if you want to know how to play proper Basic Strategy, there's a link below in the description so you can learn the proper way to play every hand of blackjack.
Which doesn't guarantee you're going to win, it just gives you the best chance.
So there's one other option.